Welcome back to the Quiet Onset podcast powered by Cineman. I'm Ewan.
And my name's Lachlan. Today we'll be discussing trailers. Trailer number 1 will be The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the multi-bazillion dollar Amazon Prime Lord of the Rings show, and the Netflix original Day Shift, led by part-time real-life vampire hunters Jamie Foxx and Snoop Doggy Dogg.
We'll also take a look at the Harvey Weinstein New York Times expose drama led by Zoe Kazan and Carey Mulligan, as well as the Gen Z energy-fueled slasher Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
And of course, today's main topic comes from the MCU's peak film directors, the Russo Brothers. Their latest film, The Grey Man, led by my main man, Ryan Gosling.
So let's cue up the intro and get into the show. We are professionals.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is
me
gonna
a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Doing it
yeah.
in 4K.
Yes.
So I've got Dooncam. It's just a camera.
So welcome back, Lachlan. How are you doing?
Me? Tired. Honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I am tired. I think I might need a Red Bull. Not sponsored, but I think I might just need a Red Bull. Or an unbranded energy drink.
I got an undisclosed drink here as well.
Perfect.
Because we have had a really busy week. We did a bunch of additional recordings. Out already is our favorites episode where we went over some of our favorite movies. It's pretty self-explanatory.
We might need to redo that one, actually, funnily enough.
Yeah? Why?
There could be a movie that I might have added into my top 4.
Crazy.
It's the one that we're covering today.
Really?
Keyword, might. Spoiler alert, didn't.
For each review each week, there could be the possibility that that one's outdated by the
Yeah.
time you... That's why you got to tune in each week to figure out if you're invested in our favorites to kind of see if they're updated. But no, we also reviewed Stranger Things and The Boys.
Yep.
Those
And The
should
Boys.
be all out as well. And of course, weekly, you'll get this main show on Monday on our feed as well as on Cineman. So that's that. We also have some more content in the works that I won't speak on more right now, but stay tuned. We got some other stuff, more than reviews. That's all I'll say. Also, if you don't want to miss that content, then scroll on down and subscribe. It really helps us grow the show. Without further ado, let's just jump into this week's news. And first up, we got a little headline from a show I recently watched, The Bear, a cuisine drama where a accomplished cook, chef, has to go back and take over his dead brother's sandwich shop in Chicago. It's really well shot, super well paced, anxiety-fueled show over on Hulu and produced by FX. We got a confirmed season 2. I'm really happy about that. So go check out The Bear if you want to. And the second big news item this week are the Emmy nominations that just came in. And Lachlan, I know you don't watch like that much TV outside of, I guess, your current run of Supernatural. But I tried really hard this year to I guess watch a bit more. But yeah, Lachlan, out of the nominees, which we won't go over everything. It's a really long list. But if you're interested, we'll have a variety article linked below. Yeah, is there anything that stood out to you that you're like considering giving it a watch sometime as well?
I heard Succession's quite good, so I might give that a watch. I've seen Ted Lasso. What's The White Lotus?
The White Lotus, I think, was a limited series. I only watched about half of it, about a bunch of people at a resort and they're kind of dicks, some of them.
Yes.
But I haven't finished the season, so. Yeah, Hacks got also 17 nominations, quite a lot, is a comedy show.
I saw Euphoria.
Yes, you saw Euphoria.
I have watched Barry, but I haven't finished Barry. I saw Squid Game and Severance. That's the Apple TV one. Okay.
Plus show.
Look,
Yeah, the new one.
I have watched TV. But obviously it hasn't been good TV because none of them seem to be nominated from the ones that I watched. So that's unfortunate.
There were quite a few shows that are just kind of the returning ones that usually are just always there. I think Ozark is gonna be there for the final time. But yeah, Succession led with 25 nominations. In total, a lot of them coming from the actor categories. Deservedly so. I think that's one of the best written, but also best performed shows I've seen in a while. My personal recommendations from shows I've also seen would be Succession, Ted Lasso, Ozark, Better Call Saul, and definitely Barry. So yeah, give those a try.
Little idea, Ewan.
Yeah.
We watch the Emmys live, but we drink every time someone wins an award.
Are they? I don't even know. Are they live? I'm not up to date with
It's
the
gotta
award
be
shows
it's
anymore.
TV,
It's
right?
gotta be.
Surely it's live.
It would be funny if like the stuff on TV and streaming is not streamed.
I'm gonna guess that one of the hosts of the Emmys is gonna make an Oscar slap joke. That's my guess. There's gonna be an Oscar slap joke. They're gonna
That's
be
bold,
like,
Lachlan.
"Oh, we don't do that here because this is the Emmys."
Bit of a leak. We did like a whole Oscar thing that I just never got around to edit. So maybe for Oscar season of 2023, I'll just drop that video, but it's last
Did that
year's
never come
Oscars.
out? I just realized that never came out.
We might drop it just like somewhere throughout the year, like
Quietly.
no
yeah.
context, just for
Yeah.
people to because it is a quite funny video as a whole, but it just was a lot of editing required that I haven't had time yet to get into. But maybe when things quiet down, be on the lookout for a really late Oscar video for the 2022 season. But Lachlan, let's move on from the Emmys and have a look at this week's new trailers. First up, we got a load of the Rings of Power, the new trailer for that show that drops on Prime Video on September 2nd. What did you think?
Looks good.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Better than that
I'm
first
keen.
initial teaser.
Better than that and first initial teaser. Again, a teaser and a trailer are two separate things. So
Yeah.
I don't like to compare teasers and trailers because a teaser is meant to tease you and a trailer is meant to tell you stuff. I am going to hold this trailer at a higher standard than what the teaser was that we got a while back because this has a number of different shots. It has character introduction shots. It has massive wides with mad CGI in it. So I just want to point out that the CGI looked quite good for a
You think so?
TV series as well.
Yeah.
For a TV
That's-
series.
yeah.
Remember that. This is
Agreed.
not a movie. I'm keen. I'm very excited. But hey, I'm just excited to watch another Lord of the Rings thing because it's fun. I just whacked the microphone. I'm sorry, Ewan. That's going to really annoy you in the editing process.
I mean, I think I still have the same issues with the look of the show because everything looks so glossy.
Isn't it the elves that are mainly set in, so it makes sense that it's glossy?
I don't know. I'm not super intrigued because I think that it's a lot of like stilted
Really?
character shots, which is great for an introduction, but I don't know who these people are. So I don't
But
particularly
this is
care.
a trailer.
Yeah, but it doesn't introduce the storyline of who these people are, and it seems like it's like showing us people and we should care about them, but I don't know them yet. And I don't know, but maybe I'm being too critical. I'll definitely give this a watch. We'll cover it on the show. I'm still kind of reluctant to say that I'm super looking forward to the show.
Bold statement. Sir.
Yes, bold statements here on the show.
Just by you, though.
We got the Harvey Weinstein Uncover story, She Said, coming to theaters on November 18th with Michelle Williams starring in it.
Produced by Miramax.
that would be kind of hypocritical, yeah. But who is it actually by? I don't know the studio. I didn't look that up.
That's a
What
good
studio is
question. I
doing
haven't
She
looked
Said? Universal. So Universal is doing She Said. It would be
Damn it,
weird if
that's-
Miramax was doing that.
Miramax
Which,
could've made some
for
mad
those of
money.
you who don't know, Harvey Weinstein worked with Miramax. But it comes from the director Maria Schrader, who's a German director who some people might know from I'm Your Man or Unorthodox. I saw I'm Your Man a couple of months ago, a really solid film that not a lot of people had on their radar. So I'm quite keen for this. You know, it's always like the timing of these. Is it just more of those like Oscar baity films? But here I think there's actually like an interesting story to tell at large. So I'm quite intrigued for She Said.
I guess how soon is too soon? Some people might say. Yeah, obviously not soon enough because one of the production companies has done Zero Dark 30, Pam and Tommy, Vice, Bombshell. So clearly they're in the market for turning real life stories and putting them onto the screen.
It's a business.
I do like a number of those films that I just listed off there. So I might just enjoy.
If it's a well-told story, and I feel like it's one that, because he's the biggest fish to fry at the moment, but you still know that there's a lot of people still swimming around, and if you tackle that in a way that is like intriguing, I think you got a really captivating story there that also, for me, you know, for my taste, has like something larger to say. other than just being a hit piece in a form of a film. It's just capitalizing on, we can shit on this person. That's why we're doing this. The films you listed, I think Bombshell was one of those films that exactly felt like that. There was a drama at the Fox studio, and it was just kind of doing that one-to-one. It was a bit like underwhelming. But yeah, maybe they'll do a better job with this one. We also got the first look, and well, not the first look, but the first real trailer for the vampire hunter film over on Netflix called Day Shift with Jamie Foxx. It comes to Netflix on August 12th. So
finally, we're talking about a real film, real art right here.
Yeah.
This is going to be the movie of the year.
It looks super fun.
It does, actually.
Yeah, some good action fun that doesn't take itself too seriously. And
Which
even if
you
read,
rarely say that.
You're
trying
mostly
to anti-fun for films.
Turn a new leaf, turn a new page, or whatever the idiom is called.
Turn a new leaf.
Turn a new leaf. But
yeah,
if you read from the synopsis, it's an LA vampire hunter has a week to come up with the cash to pay for his kid's tuition and braces. Trying to make a living these days just might kill him. Like, from that synopsis, how sarcastic and like how non-serious it comes off. Like, it obviously has that plot thing of, well, I need money, that's why I gotta do this. But then in that framework, it's just trying to have a whole bunch of fun. It's directed by J.J. Perry, who is a first-time director, but he's a stunt coordinator who has worked on a bunch of different films.
So you're telling me it's going to be like John Wick?
It is. He was a stunt coordinator on John Wick Chapter 2.
Oh, wow. Here we go. Perfect.
He also worked on The Fate of the Furious and Bloodshot, which I don't know if that's all like good reference work.
I mean, Fate of the Furious, great action. Bloodshot, basically a vampire. Combine those two movies.
That's just Vin Diesel, man.
I can't wait for Vin Diesel to pop up in this as a vampire.
Triple X is not a vampire hunter, right? He's just an action guy. Looks like a good bit of fun that we'll definitely check out on August 12th.
I just want to quickly say how scary it is to type in XXX in Google to try to find the movie Triple X. It's the most terrifying thing because if you go XXX film, Google goes, safe search is off. You might see some nudity. And I'm like, no, I just want to look at this movie that came out in 2002. Calm down.
It's not Vin Diesel who's naked. That's disappointing. That's kind of sus, though. So that's transition to bodies. Gen X slasher film, I'd say, with people in their mid-20s, rich people.
Gen X?
And Gen X. Oh, Gen Z, I meant. Sorry, I think I got the generations mixed up. It comes with the old age, Lachlan. You're not that well adjusted to actually say the things that you actually wanted to say. But thanks for letting me know.
You're welcome.
But yeah, we got Maria Bakalova in the mix as well, who some people might know from Borat's subsequent movie film. She's kind of the fish out of water character that gets thrown into this, I guess, mid-20s rich kids friend group. Chaos happens as people get killed, and it's kind of a whodunit slasher a la Scream, I'd probably say. It's the movie we could compare it to the most closely. But yeah, Lachlan, are you intrigued for bodies?
I don't want to be doing a Ewan here, but I saw A24 and I said, sign me the fuck up. So, yeah, I am intrigued. Also, it kind of seems like a bit of fun. You know what I mean? Just kind of seems like a bit of a slasher fun with a bit of Scream vibes because it feels like it's really trying to be meta. And I enjoy that. I enjoy a bit of meta-ness in my films once in a while here and there. So I am excited. And there's a number of actors and actresses who are in this film that I am a fan of as well. So it just seems to be ticking some boxes for me that I'm happy to go watch this film.
I'll watch whatever Rachel Sennett is in, who was in Shiva Baby. Loved her performance in that. Another outstanding person there would be Pete Davidson. I think the only guy in the film. It would be too obvious if he's the killer. Well, as he says in the trailer as well.
I would say that Lee Pace is I'm excited for because I watched him recently in the Apple TV series Foundation. He's also been in a number of films in definitely some smaller roles. Yeah, but he everything he seems to do is quite good. So I'm excited to see him in this as well.
Oh yeah, he blended into the background because he's one like the older guy in this. Totally forgot about him in the trailer. But yeah, that looks like a good bit of fun. Not as much fun is the release date when it comes to Switzerland, because with A24 we don't have a normal distributor that just distributes them here. You're more lucky in the US because you get a release date in August, and in Australia it's releasing on September 15th. But yeah, in Switzerland, no release
2025.
date. Yeah, I don't know what's gotta happen for films from A24 to release. It's a big pain all the time. But yeah, hopefully we'll get that movie at some point as well, so we get to talk about it. But yeah, that's it for the news this week, and let's get to what we've been watching. Or should I say what I've been watching? Because Lachlan, I know you've been really busy this week, and since the last time we recorded, which wasn't too long ago actually, you didn't really watch anything. So I would just get into what I've been watching really quickly before we move on to The Gray Man. I won't get into these films a bit more because I do have separate reviews out for them on the Ewan Graph podcast. So if you're interested, go on over to hear my thoughts on the Netflix adaptation of the Jane Austen novel Persuasion, as well as the father-daughter coming-of-age drama Don't Make Me Go from Prime Video. And then finally on Disney Plus, the Miss Marvel show finished its first season 6 episode run. So for all of those films, I'll have a review over on the Ewan Graph podcast. But yeah, I also caught the first episode of the second season, of the second half of season 6 of Better Call Saul. Episode 8, obviously no spoilers here, but episode 7 left off at like a crazy moment, and they, instead of just going like, going back down and then building up, it just stays on that level for the entire of like episode 8. And I don't know what they'll do for the last 5 or 6 episodes now. It is incredible. I don't know if they can end it as perfectly as they did with Breaking Bad, but I got really high hopes for Better Call Saul. I also watched the new Netflix animated film The Sea Beast, which comes from Chris Williams, who's the director behind Bolt and Big Hero 6. He brings what I describe as the Wind Waker edition of How to Train Your Dragon with, I guess, sea monsters instead of dragons, and a very similar plot that has Carl Urban in it from The Boys. He's the voice character, one of the main characters, meeting up with a young girl who's lost her parents, and they go on an adventure together, kind of, battling the sea creatures and then maybe figuring something out along the way. So that's Sea Beast, out now on Netflix. And yeah, that's all I've been watching.
You done?
And get
You done?
into, yeah. And
You done?
Oh,
You
yeah,
wanna ask
so,
me?
yeah.
You want to ask me what
No,
I've been
well-
watching?
I thought you hadn't
no-
been watching anything.
Well, no, but I had an announcement.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's what I am going to be watching.
Okay. He's morbing out.
And it's in 4K Ultra HD. And so I didn't just buy this to return it. I'm opening it on camera.
Oh,
So
damn.
I can't return it and get my money back. So I own this now. Let me just get this in the right spot.
Morb cam.
Ewan, I want you to zoom in on
Not
this.
again.
Right here.
Yes, okay. I'll zoom in.
Okay?
Yes.
This is for the
It's
the
you and Morb.
thumbnail.
Right.
Me and-
Although
me
we're
and
not
Morb.
talking about Morbius. Yeah, I might save it for
So,
a drunkcast.
I want to let everybody know that I'm watching Morbius this week.
Mhm.
This came out, I think, like yesterday or the day before that, and I went to go buy the
Right.
Steelbook, but the Steelbook is already sold out statewide, so I can't buy the Steelbook. And I was like, "Is the Steelbook worth it for the meme?" And I thought, yes, it was. So I tried hunting one down. There's none available, so I had to stick with getting just the 4K. Which I mean, and he's on the disc as well, even better.
I think they should make the Steelbook silver, just like, to play into the vampire meme.
That there. Excellent. Actually, hopefully it's not too perfect. Oh,
Great
so
to
happy.
have that on Dune Cam. Dune Cam featuring Morbius.
This is now Morbius Cam.
The legacy of Dune cannot be taken over. Is it taking over Dune until we get Dune 2 in 2024? Probably. That's sad. But yeah, let's move on to our review of the week, and that is for The Gray Man. When the CIA's most skilled operative, whose true identity is known to none, accidentally uncovers dark agency secrets, a psychopathic former colleague puts a bounty on his head, setting off a global manhunt by international assassins. So that's The Gray Man, Netflix's latest blockbuster film that is currently doing a limited run in theaters before it releases on Netflix on July 22nd. And it comes from the Russo Brothers, most known for their run in the MCU with Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War, followed by Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. More recently, they've worked with Tom Holland on the Apple TV Plus produced opioid war film drama Cherry. And now they're also back with Chris Evans as the antagonist to Ryan Gosling's Gray Man in The Gray Man. So this is the story adapted from a popular novel series by Mark Greaney. So it's safe to assume that if this does well, we'll probably get a bunch of sequels of The Gray Man. The Gray Man also sees Gosling and Ana de Armas reunite for the first time since 2017's Blade Runner 2049, which, hint, hint, we talked about that movie not too long ago in another video. I'll link it here right now, so go check that out. Coming in at a runtime of a little over 2 hours and filled to the brim with action set pieces set all over Europe. Honestly, kind of reminded me like a 2-hour-long cinematic for that web browser game GeoGuessr. I felt like we're just skipping through different parts and I'm like, I know where that is. So that was exciting. Regardless, there's gunfights, there's torture, there's chase scenes, all under the umbrella of a PG-13 rating, which I thought was a bit surprising with how bloody it sometimes gets. But I guess Netflix can kind of get away with, I guess, a looser rating because they have their own streaming service. I don't know. I was just a bit surprised to see a PG rated film that was clearly, to me, definitely that was definitely deserving an R rating.
An R rating? You're gonna say that film is R rated?
Yeah, because like it
Wow.
it jumps from PG-13 to R rated. They don't have anything in between. I would say it's like a 16 plus film, but I think in the US they only have R rating.
Like, there's literally 2 more ratings here in Australia before you get to R.
A 15 would also be fine.
I think this film's fine for 4-year-olds. Introducing them to CIA torture is just going to get them prepped for what they want to do in their lives and there's another overthrow of the government.
Yeah, it should be ready. For me, this was also surprisingly like the film we discussed last week, For Love and Thunder, and it seems like these MCU directors are unable to break free from that terrible every character has to be quippy in a sense, that parasite that kind of comes with all the Marvel stuff, and it leaves the films kind of tonally imbalanced. I think The Gray Man doesn't suffer as much as For Love and Thunder because Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling can kind of carry a lot of the weight for this film, and it's also not cut down to 2 hours from a 4-hour-long cut. So overall, it's less of a mess of a film. Nonetheless, we get the familiar agent gone rogue type of story. But in order to raise the stakes, I feel like at some point in the movie, everyone goes rogue and everyone goes crazy, which kind of pulled me out of the film. But that's what you can expect for The Gray Man. But before I give anything more specific away and share my spoiler thoughts on the film, we'll transition our review into the spoiler discussion. But if you've seen these types of films, then you definitely won't be surprised by The Gray Man. Let's get into spoilers, Lachlan. So what did you make of the film? Yeah?
Let me go on my tangent then. Look, the Gray Man is a 2-hour action thriller shitter that clearly doesn't have a dictionary nearby because the fucking directors need to know what the word incomplete means. Or even Netflix. And Netflix needs to understand what the word incomplete means. And Lachlan, you say, the lovely listeners sitting at home, and Ewan Ewan, say it.
Lachlan!
Yes. What do you mean by incomplete, Ewan?
Yeah, what do you mean by incomplete, Lachlan?
Well, let me explain to you, Ewan, and lovely listeners listening and watching at home. The Gray Man has some of the funniest looking CGI action scenes in the history of CGI. Now, I'm saying that like it's not on purpose though, right? I have seen wacky, inflatable fucking tube men who look more realistic than the 3D models that they used when they jumped out of that
Talking
aeroplane
about the
scene.
Michelin Man
Yes, I'm talking about the Michelin. I'm talking about those big things at the front of
and
car
the floppy
things.
things. Yeah.
They look more realistic than the models that they used in that
Oh,
flying
it's a
out of the
great
plane
comparison.
scene. And on top of that, I have seen stories that have been more complete that have way less of a $200 million budget. Like, I have
Yeah.
seen literally a 5-minute clip on YouTube, and it's a review of a new washing machine that's come out that tells a better story than this film. So the Grey Man's over-the-top villain and I guess over-the-top main actor who's also very close to my heart is the only thing that keeps me going. And I guess what? The performances that they hold are averagely good enough
Yeah.
because it can have really good moments. So
Yep.
to end my tangent, here's my letterbox review that I posted very few moments before we started recording this. If I have to watch another mediocre Netflix original film, especially in the action thriller genre, I think I might unsubscribe. But I can't understand how Netflix can justify throwing almost $200 million at a movie for this to be the result. Now, would that be blind faith or just bad judgment? So the Grey Man's cast is able to put on enough of a performance to make little moments absolutely rock, and their little relationship that they have going, like in the moment, is really good. However, with this 2-hour-long runtime, the story does fall short on delivering an impactful, emotional story about family, because obviously the Grey Man's whole thing is that he needs to essentially escape, like exfil out of this mission, but ends up being brought back into it because he has essentially his family brought into it. I guess his adopted family brought into it, and it fails on making me believe that he cares about this family or be any emotional stakes at all. So, and the reason they can't do that is that they're focusing all their time and effort in incomplete and incomplete CGI action scenes. So those are my thoughts. And this hurts to say because I love Ryan Gosling. I do. All my heart. You know that.
Imagine it could have kicked out yet another film that's not featuring Ryan Gosling in your top 4. Imagine that could have been this film. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it had like a great shot at doing that, but it could because it features Ryan Gosling.
It had a potential. There's a potential.
It had a potential. Yeah.
It had the first box ticked. Does it star Ryan Gosling? Yes. Cool. Tick.
If it doesn't tick that box, you don't have to fill out the rest of the survey. That's
there's
kind
no
of, that's
the rest
kind
of the
rule.
form. The rest of the form literally just it's like one of those pull off like sheets.
Yeah.
Literally, it just sheet gone.
No, I mean you already shared your full thoughts on the film. I don't know where we could like go deeper into it and in the spoiler discussions, I guess, talk about it more. I think something that stands out definitely is the CGI. I think the latter half of the film is definitely stronger than the first. I don't know if we disagree on that, but I think the pacing kind of picks up. Yeah, okay, I'm glad to be on the same page with you on that. And then I guess there's, like you said, a bunch of goofy CGI scenes that made me kind of laugh out in the theater that I was sitting pretty much alone in. There was like one other person. And I went to see this. And we both found it kind of funny how it was just like, he was just flapping around and the camera was just like manically just like going around in circles. And
so we're talking about
weird.
the plane scene, yes?
The plane scene.
Okay.
Yeah, such a
Since we're talking about CGI, this plane scene that we're talking about, essentially, it starts off quite well. And I think a comment that we can quickly make is that all of the hand-to-hand combat and close-up combat is excellent.
Yeah, the combat hand-to-hand stuff is done super well, and I think whenever they're not just like shooting endless rounds at like a historic place or somewhere all over Prague, like the stakes are higher because like you can actually feel them 1-to-1. And this movie a lot of the times just tries to be as big as possible, as many guns and explosions as possible. You want to derail a train and jump off it, and I thought like from the first trailer that showed that, it looked off. The CGI looked bad in that scene. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just a one-off thing. But no, it's not even the worst thing that they have. That scene was like, he was flapping around in the wind.
I will say that the plane scene CGI is the worst. I'm going to say that for a fact. I think that's the worst part of the CGI. And it's unfortunate it's right at the start of the film as you are introduced to this world. and it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth for the rest of the action because
Mhm.
that scene not only suffers from bad CGI but from bad editing. It is
Yeah.
throwing you all around the place in that scene. You have no idea. So I guess they were like, "Wow, this looks really bad. Let's put everything out of focus first of all because there was
Yeah.
a lack of focus from my again, I'm just going to be going off of the one screening that I saw what is it now? 4 hours ago. So it's
Mhm.
fresh in my mind. And for
Yeah.
me, that initial viewing was this looks out of focus, and they are cutting so quickly around the entire scene. And what ended up happening was that went from, oh wow, they're making this thing jump around this entire scene to them being like, they're jumping around to a lot of countries, and I'm losing focus of where
Mhm.
everybody is.
Well, that's maybe just because you're bad at geography. That's not
I'm
our
not, I'm
fault.
great at geography. I
Yeah?
know
Where's
that
Prague?
Prague, Europe.
Yeah. Well, that's a given. I mean, of what country is it, is the capital of?
The capital of Prague?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, I thought Prague was the capital.
Yeah, no, it is the capital of what, sorry, of what, country?
Yeah, the country of Europe, right? The
It's a
United
country
Nations.
of Europe. Yeah, I guess. No, it's all kind of close. But I found it funny when like one
Can I take
character.
a guess? Can I take a guess?
Yeah, yeah. Take a guess.
It's close to Berlin and it's close to Croatia.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Those are just other locations that were in the film, so I'm guessing.
Croatia was also in there. I totally forgot that. Yeah, it's not that close. It's to give it away. It's Czech Republic. But I found it kind of funny when
I thought
one
that was a
character
fake
who's
place.
in no, that's a totally real place. When she goes from Berlin to Vienna and it just like shows outside Vienna 21 kilometers, which seems like it's a pretty long drive. When they showed Vienna, I was like, oh, that's puts me in my happy place. I love Vienna, my favorite city in the world. And it was very funny because like the first thing they showed is like the most tourist, like the biggest tourist attraction from Vienna, the Hundertwasserhaus, and they go there immediately, and it's all set there. It was to me kind of laughable. It's like two directors from America looking up where could we set this all over Europe and going by the most
Best
famous
places to
places, and like,
blow up in Europe.
yeah, people will know. Yeah, what could we blow up? Like that kind of put it on an upswing. Was like, oh, at least I'm in Vienna right now in the
Mm.
movie thing. But other than that, I think touching on the editing, I think outside of the action scenes, it was a bit off as well, right? Lingering on
Yeah,
characters a bit too long, not really knowing what they're doing.
my thoughts are that it does suffer quite a bit from editing,
Yeah,
and that is location jumping. That is within
right.
locations. There seems to be an off timing with where each character is because
Hmm.
there is the scene where Six is captured by that creepy looking
Austrian
fake
dude.
passports and
Yeah,
exactly do all that shit. Once Lloyd is tranquilized, and I guess so is Six, it immediately cuts back to Lloyd standing up in Berlin in a whole different location, and then
yeah,
cuts back to Six in the same location. And I was like, whoa, no, this doesn't make sense. Lloyd was just knocked out. You're now knocked out. You're
hmm,
sleeping, he's awake. This makes no sense here. So again, it's coming down to a location jumping problem, a
yeah,
scale problem. They should have restricted the location it was in. Don't let them jump around to literally every other a new country every 5 minutes, right? It should
yeah,
be like opening part, sure. Have it set in where was the opening? Bangkok. In
yeah,
Bangkok. Fly out, land in Turkey because like then he crash lands in Turkey in the plane scene, and then have it set in maybe one or two other locations, but they bounce to like three or four other locations, and then there's a whole flashback scene going back even further, both in
yeah,
time and location. So you are thrown around quite a
yeah.
bit. I felt
Hmm.
that flashback scene could definitely have been placed at the start of the film. It could have been told in a more chronological way, and that would have
Yeah,
given a better flow to the film. It's not going to fix any of the big scale CGI problems, but I don't know why they had to go big scale because all the hand to hand combat stuff was excellently executed.
yeah.
And if
I
they just
think.
cut away all that big stuff, you've got a
Mhm.
really good action thriller on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I think the reason for bringing in that flashback a bit later is so we are kind of on the same information, like we are kind of on the same level of information as Ana de Armas character. and because she's kind of slowly attached to him, helping him out. If we already kind of knew all of his motivation, how close he is with Claire, then that would have taken that away. So it would need a bit of a rework of the whole structure. But I don't think the Ana de Armas thing was integral to the story. So I think definitely you could set him
No.
up as like this just hunted for no reason CIA operative that, or not even Sierra operative, that is just kind of used, and it's enough of a plot for us to root for him. We don't need like that other thing, although he's like, someone who kills without asking questions. But yeah, his backstory is kind of thin. And then I think it tries to tie a lot of like different things together, of bringing in the theme of like failed father figures and how you, I don't know, outgrow that and stuff like that. It wants to bring that in towards the end with like that good match cutting. I think that was super smooth when he was like held under the water by Lloyd, and then it cuts back to his dad doing that to him. I think we could have needed a bit earlier, like you said, that flashback. Do you mean the flashback with Claire or the flashback with his dad?
With
Or
Claire.
like both?
No.
With Claire.
So,
Okay.
well, no, look. So, my one of my points I make in my review summary is the family story that they're trying to tell, because obviously
Mm-hmm.
he's in prison due to him killing his father and
Yeah.
protecting his brother, which doesn't really come up until
We don't see him as
halfway,
well.
75% through the film, as an explanation as to why he's in prison.
Mhm.
We could have easily had a summary of that at the start, but omitting certain things as to why he killed his father. Like my initial, I know we go through this quite a bit on this podcast, where if we had creative control, what would we have done? And for
Yeah.
me, I would have set up that he killed his father in prison, but I won't say why he
Mhm.
killed his father. I
Mhm.
would have had him then, like a montage of going through different countries, because you can still do the whole CIA lone wolf thrown into a situation that you can't have your own operatives in montage, just so
Yeah.
that he's a very effective killer, and then have one more mission where he's got to protect Claire. And then that mission with Claire is like how you can then go, he went from this killer dude to this one mission where he became essentially a family member of Claire's life, because she
Yeah.
is what's his name? Fizz's
Yeah.
niece,
Mhm.
and Six is seen as basically Fizz is his father figure. So it could have been
Mhm.
this really weird family dynamic between the three of them, but that I can see that's what they're trying to work towards, but they never
Yeah.
really get there.
I think to play not really play devil's advocate, but kind of argument from the side of what they did here. I think for the type of film that they do, when you want to have that like agent gone rogue thing, if they focus too much on kind of glorifying his like badass skills for the CIA killing, it would flesh him out as like a more gray overall character. But they don't really, I think, want that. So the first mission that you see him go on and be good at, you already have his morals set right. And I think that like it gives it less nuance overall and makes him a less intriguing character. But for a blockbuster, it does make sense. And I think the movie that you were describing is a bit more like unforgiving maybe on his side, that we root for him ultimately, but he's a difficult character to just grasp. And you can't just say he had daddy issues, protected his brother, and then he's now hunted by the CIA, which is basically the story we get. But like it would be more about him being used for a bunch of stuff that he didn't question, and he only begins to question it when I guess a former Sierra operative tells him that, oh, you might be next. Then it would be a like more self-preserving thing. And when you bring in Claire, then he has like a clear motivation other than self-preservation. Overall, I think action department, if they had focused a bit more on the hand-to-hand combat, that was really solid. I think that one scene between he was fighting Ana de Armas' character. I think that like fight scene was quite solid as well, with like the rope and stuff. There's a couple of really fun things that happen, but it really happens after Vienna, I'd say. Like the action gets better after Vienna, and leaving out that whole Prague messy shootout scene. Let's talk about, I guess, the main antagonistic force in the film with Lloyd. What did you think about Chris Evans?
I also want to talk about Ryan Gosling at the same time, because
Yes.
I would say that I have no issue with anyone's performance in this
Mhm.
film. I feel like every character is portrayed and performed extremely well.
Yeah.
But obviously the two big guys, being Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans' character Six and Lloyd Hansen, I felt that Lloyd was the perfect over the top antagonist
Eccentric guy, yeah.
that talked a lot of shit and never
Mhm.
really did much until when it came
Yeah.
down to him actually doing stuff. He could actually kick ass a little bit, but he was outmatched when it came to Six's skills.
Mhm.
I enjoyed all of his quippiness and sociopathic behavior, as they say in the film, that he's a sociopath and he really does not care who he kills. And
Yeah.
I found that fun. It's good to have an antagonist like that who's like, he seems sweet, he seems nice, he's clean, he's not a single drop of blood on him, and he will
Yeah.
kill literally anybody,
Mhm.
man, woman, or child, to get to what he needs to do. So you pin Lloyd Hansen, a man who's insane and will kill
Mhm.
literally anybody, as I said, man,
Yeah.
woman, or child,
Yeah.
against Six, who literally in the first mission is about to take the shot and kill someone, but there is a kid in the way, and he gets the all clear. Collateral is fine. You can kill everyone and anyone in this. And he's
Mhm.
like, how about no? So you're instantly pinned up against someone who actually has a moral, like humanistic morals, who won't just kill anybody and everybody, and actually is
Yeah.
more than just a killing machine,
Yeah.
but is also a very effective killing machine versus the literal killing machine.
Ryan Gosling is just this super stoic character that I don't know how you felt about like his quippiness sometimes. Do you
I
kind
felt
of
the quippiness was fine, like,
fine?
because
Yeah.
he's not over the top that
Yeah.
Chris Evans is, but most of the
Mhm.
time he's you can see that he's physically tired, like after the plane flight, and
Mhm.
he gets down. Like obviously in the trailer you've got the "How are you feeling?" Well, my ego's a bit bruised. Like that's quite a
Yeah.
funny line. Then you've obviously got the
Mhm.
ones where he's "How are you?" That's from Fritz, and Six goes, "What, emotionally?" And then he is quite quippy and
Yeah.
funny in a way that is also him tired and sick of this shit. I honestly didn't mind it. As I said, I felt that he held the movie together quite well
Yeah.
with his action. He doesn't really do a lot of, I guess, talking.
Which is perfect for a Ryan Gosling character.
But as I said, I am a Ryan Gosling fanboy. So in the
Yeah.
opening scene when he has a toothpick in his mouth, I was losing my
Frothing.
mind because I was like, oh my God, it
That's
is
too
Drive.
much.
And then Ana de Armas, who, by the way, I completely forgot was in this film, rocks up.
Me
and I'm
too.
like, oh my God, it's Blade Runner 2049. If she dies, I will literally lose my shit again. And then the last shot, like one of the last shots of the film, is him in a jacket that is so similar to the one he wears in Drive as well. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then there's there was
Ken doll
a
line,
Ken doll
right?
reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this movie is just nailing everything for Ryan Gosling for me. So
Yeah.
I will stand by the fact that I know that Ryan Gosling isn't the greatest actor in the world, and I know
You think
that
so?
some of his
I think he's
shut
great.
the fuck up. I know there's a number of people who shut the fuck. I can see it. I can see it in your face, motherfucker.
Well, no, I'm not sarcastic. I think he's a great actor.
You sound like the most sarcastic motherfucker right now.
That's just my natural tone. I'm totally being
I did not
honest.
hit her. I did not. But Ryan Gosling can do basics quite well, and I love him for it. Because
Yeah.
he just seems to, like, the characters that he's given are often perfect for him, and that's what I like about it. Sure, he's no De Niro or he's no Jared Leto, but he is really fun to watch on screen, and I think he does action quite well, like really, really well.
You know, a thought I had while they were like having that final battle and punching each other. I was thinking that that was like reminded me of Civil War and that standoff between Captain America and Iron Man. And I thought like alternate universe, Ryan Gosling as Iron Man, I wouldn't
Iron
mind
Man?
it. I wouldn't mind
Be
it.
dope. I think I read the other day that he like the only superhero he's kind of interested in playing would be Ghost Rider.
That would be a sick role for him as well. I'm totally not being sarcastic, by the way. I think he's a great performer and he does get
Oh, thank
typecast,
God.
but I think he
does.
does it perfectly. And that's why, like, if you find your niche, that's great. And I also think that Chris Evans breaking out, kind of playing the contrast of what he's usually been playing for the last 10 years in the
Oh,
MCU,
100%.
is also
Yeah.
amazing. I loved him. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say other movies because it might give. I'm already giving stuff away, but I'm not saying that right now. I think him playing like a more diverse set of roles is definitely great.
I enjoyed Chris Evans in Knives Out, and that was one of the biggest things since Iron Man. Since Captain America.
Yeah,
I loved it for it. So
like they are at their peak physique. They both look so
fuck
great in this.
ripped.
There's a
Ripped.
topless scene with Ryan Gosling, and I was like moving closer to the screen. It's like, oh, okay, that dude got
I was
ripped
like, did he get ripped for this or did he get ripped for Barbie?
just for
Because
fun.
my god,
Oh,
he
I-
was popping. I learned about 4 new muscle groups because of this film.
that's a great thing for you, I guess, overall.
Thank you.
But yeah, was there an action scene that stood out to you, or a scene overall that you enjoyed the most?
The final battle, because I
Mhm.
loved the final hand-to-hand combat in, well, I guess the final hand-to-hand combat in No Time to Die that was
Yeah.
in the water, and I love
Mhm.
that. I think it just is such a very cinematic way of doing a fight, is by having
Yeah.
some kind of wet floor liquid where water can come up and or you can
Mhm.
drown someone. That's quite fun. I will say, having Six handcuffed to a chair, having to get out of that situation was probably the more entertaining thing for me, because he was trying to grab a gun, he was trying to defend. There was that part where he shot 2 bullets, went to go shoot the handcuff, but ran out of bullets, and he had to get another magazine, and more people were coming in. And by the way, shout out to the Prague police, because they did a pretty much top-notch
Obliterated.
job in dying. That is. So
Yeah.
I would say that was probably my favorite action scene. That sequence, especially in the tram, not on top of the tram, in the tram.
In the tram. Yeah, that was solid because again it's hand-to-hand combat there. But yeah, I already said I like the Ana de Armas fight with the rope.
Yes, that was fun.
I was fun as well, and I guess that, like, the final battle as well, him having shot off his hand and he punches and then he's like, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah.
It's very eccentric, but I think Chris Evans has enough charisma to play it.
The whole first like hand-to-hand combat sequence in Bangkok was sick, where he was walking, presses the alarm, walks through the
Yeah.
security guards just by picking something up, stabbing him in the neck, taking him out. That was dope, especially
Mhm.
then the shots that go from the building into the fireworks boat. There were a lot of really, I must
Yeah.
say this, the cinematography was very good. They took a page out of Michael Bay's book, and
I was about to say the
drone
drones,
shot the living
right?
shit
But,
out of.
but only in the second half of the film as well. It didn't appear for the
Oh
first.
man,
and
it didn't seem.
It was
yeah,
like they saw the movie and were like, oh, we gotta do that as well.
we gotta
That's the
do that.
impression I
Like,
got.
buy
Yeah.
as many FPV drones as you fucking can right now. Like, we
Yeah.
gotta go and get it. Because they were
Yeah.
like, they were drone shots, but they were still quite tame in the style of it. And then all of a sudden, it was like cut away to a drone shot, do a little couple moments of conversation, and then cut back to a drone shot halfway through a city, going through literal cars to another shot
Yeah.
of like Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas. They went crazy with the drone shots post
Yeah.
Berlin.
Yeah, that's true. I think something that I found interesting with Cherry, you haven't seen Cherry yet, I think, right?
I've seen Cherry.
Oh, you've seen Cherry.
I've seen the masterpiece that is Cherry.
They also, if I remember correctly, do a bunch of stylistic choices that aren't like
Yeah.
super coherent in the overall narrative, which I felt about. Like, I felt the same way about the drone shots. Like, there was one shot where it's literally just like going from. I like the shot where it goes from Chris Evans from Lloyd to the boat. I think that was a good thing of like showing the distance. They don't really do
Yes.
anything with that separation
Yes.
then, so it's kind of pointless. But that was a sick shot. One that I found kind of funny is like one of the first times they do it. I think it's in either Prague or Vienna, where it's in Vienna when they drive away, and it's like it pans to like their car as they're driving, and it's like, well, okay, that's just a transition shot. You could have just cut here, and other than showing off like that quick drone shot, there's no purpose for the shot being
Yeah.
that way right there. So
That's exactly the shot I was talking about, where it just like cuts towards it, turns like hits a hard
Yeah.
left, and I'm pretty sure it's a completely different car as well. I don't think they could decide whether they were using. No, I think they were all Audis, but I thought there was some Kias in there as well. I was like, I don't think they can
Right.
decide what car brand they're using.
Well,
in
it's
this,
good
in
thing
this
we're
film.
giving those brands another shout out right now.
Yes, yes.
But yeah,
Not that they need it. I mean, they might need it. They
No.
could be struggling with COVID.
Other than that, to get to the end of our review, let's get to the end of the film. And I'd say to those kind of weirdly paced two endings of the film, where I don't know if you felt the same way, where it kind of like leaves an open ending where Claire is then used by the CIA and he continues to get used, but then it doesn't end to set up a second film, but it resolves something that they set up straight away. How did you feel about that?
I thought they were just going to cut and leave, and
Yeah.
leave it open enough, or at least maybe have a shot where Claire's like playing me really loud, and then you hear a gunshot, and then that's it. Like he escapes,
Yeah.
and then you hear a gunshot with Claire, so you don't know if he actually saves Claire or not, or if it was something else.
Yeah.
But for me, sure, they could probably do a sequel. They could probably be like, we've hacked into Claire's pacemaker, and we will literally kill her if you don't do this. And I'm like,
Crank
that's
style.
what I'm thinking, prank style.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. That
Cranky
they'll do.
Gray Man.
Unless they do
Yes.
like a Sierra 5, because I know there was a 5, there's a 4 and
Well,
6, but there's no 5 they talked about. So I
They
guess
said
could do another
everyone's
Grey Man.
dead. I think
Oh,
what they
did they?
set up kind of they said everyone. He's the last one who's he's
I
not the last
totally
one
got
who's
that.
back in. I'm wrong because they said they either back in prison or dead. So there's still people who were Sierras in prison. So that's that.
Cool.
And the second thing is that they never show the brother, and that's just an obvious. Knowing this is a series of novels that I haven't read, but that's just like that's also fucked up. Like him, kind of makes sense for me that he's like maybe the corrupted side of the family
Yeah.
or whatever. So they have to like that's definitely like a second or a third. Like it could be in the sequel that's the focus. That's the focus. From there, I think it's a really predictable story overall. Like especially that Fitz dies. I was like, as soon as he was introduced and the constellation was there, I was like, okay, the father figure for him needs to die, so he steps in as for her father figure. Like that type of stuff was obvious. Yeah, I think for plot wise, I went in expecting that, kind of got what I expected. So I can't really fault the movie for it, other than the weirdly edited together sequences and the odd CGI at times. But other than that, do we have anything else to talk about, or are you ready to share your rating for The Gray Man?
I think if we're gonna quickly summarize what we've discussed so
Yep,
far,
yep.
The Grey Man delivers on the majority of the action. And if
Yeah.
you just want a bit of mindless fun, when this thing comes out on Netflix and you've got the subscription, I feel like a lot of people probably will enjoy it. But
Yep.
for me, watching it in cinema, it just didn't feel like people were vibing with it. And I'm
Mhm.
saying that I saw it in a cinema and there was maybe 6 or 8 people in it. And
Yeah.
at no point was anyone actually chuckling or laughing at any of the quippiness. No one was really, with like any of the punches. But
Mhm.
as a bit of mindless fun, the film will deliver on that. So it's a good thing to maybe
Yeah.
just like, what a nice little action film to throw on. It is going to compete. Now, will I say, where does it sit with Netflix's original
Better than Red
action
Notice.
thrillers?
Definitely better than
I would
that.
say it's better than Red Notice. I would
Mhm.
probably say it's
Better
a
than
little bit better than the Old Guard.
Oh, right.
Extraction is a funny one because I never really finished it because I
Right.
just didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
probably would say I guess it is better than Extraction then because I actually
I think
finished
they're
this one.
pretty much on the same level.
So I would probably say it is one of the better ones. I would say it's
Right,
better,
yeah.
one of the better action movies that Netflix has put out, but it's
Yeah.
still not able to deliver where some films are able to deliver. Surely the hand-to-hand combat is not John Wick, and
Yeah.
sure the story is no fucking Scorsese 3-hour epic, and I'm sure the CIA-ness isn't anywhere near as Bourne Legacy style
Mission
Jack
Impossible-ish.
Reacher, Mission
Yeah.
Impossible-ish level, but it is at an average level enough in all of those to still be an enjoyable flick, but it
Mhm.
just fails to get you to lock onto something. So I guess it's
Yeah.
something they could work on in a sequel if they do want to do a sequel, and probably just say, don't let the Russo brothers do it, just give it to someone else.
Yeah, I think they are really good with ensembles. I don't know if they're super well, if they can do character stuff super well. It's what we both thought after watching Cherry, that like the dramatization, they always need like that other bit of stylization, not like
Yeah.
staying in serious moments. And an action movie doesn't need to be serious. It can be quippy and like you enjoy it, like you said. But yeah, maybe if they want to go down the route of what I'd see coming, like the brother versus brother type of story, I think you would have to nail it in the character department, not just in the action. So I wouldn't be against having someone else on, and they're busy with producing like 17 films and movies right now, films and shows right now, anyways. So the Russos are not going to be out of work anytime soon. So yeah, I guess Ryan Gosling will probably return. It's safe to say if like this lands, I'm pretty sure that they will do another one of these. It would have to flop pretty hard because Netflix has to set on something, and I don't think they have something in the movie department that they could like do a series out of that is sustainable and based on something that could just like easily adapt. There's a whole series of books that they could just like take the source material from. So I think we'll definitely see more of the Gray Men. We don't know
I
yet
mean,
what
if
it will be called.
365 can get a part 2, like 365 days can get a part 2, I'm sure this could possibly get a
That's
sequel.
different. I mean, I would be down for a sequel that gets rid of the R. The R rating makes it a different kind of R rating, and it's just the gay man, and it's Ryan Gosling going to town. I would
And I'm
watch
pretty
that.
sure they're also doing an Extraction 2,
Yes,
as
they
well.
are.
So,
Yeah, Red Notice.
and
I don't
again,
know,
Red Notice
probably as
too.
well.
So it's
Yeah,
probably it's probably like
a
they'll
lock.
release this on Netflix and be like, by the way, we're already made 4, 5, and 6. We're just doing what James Cameron did with Avatar,
I
and we're filming them all back to back to back.
Yeah, I couldn't find an interview or an article anymore, but I think like a year or two ago there was rumors, or maybe even like it was said that Ryan Gosling signed a multi-picture deal for this, and he,
Oh,
he wasn't doing that before. But maybe I'm totally off and just going off by what I've heard and rumors, and it's not true because I couldn't find a source for it anymore. But yeah, that wraps it up for the Gray Men. Lachlan, where do you arrive at as a rating for the film?
so I'm giving this film a 2 out of 5.
Okay. For me, it's a 2.5 out of 5. So
Ooh.
if you want to watch The Gray Man, it will be streaming on Netflix on July 22nd. Let us know what you've made of the film. Did you enjoy it? Was Ryan Gosling enough to keep you glued to the screen for 2 hours? Or was it maybe America's greatest butt with the psychopath Lloyd? Lachlan, out this week, or out right now, is the horror thriller movie The Black Phone, that's now on VOD, and it will be out this week in Swiss theaters as well. There's also another Netflix movie that's a Jane Austen adaptation from the novel Persuasion with Dakota Johnson, that's streaming on Netflix right now. And then in Switzerland, we are getting a couple more films that have already released worldwide. We are getting Men from Alex Garland and Flea, the 3-time Oscar-nominated animated documentary international feature. So give that a watch if you want to. And yeah, Lachlan, what is your pick of the week?
I'm glad you asked, Ewan.
Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
if you want to go watch Morbius, you should go watch Morbius because it is 2022's possibly worst film. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to watch it together, maybe, Ewan.
Yeah, we're definitely going to watch it together. We're not missing out on
At
that
some
bonding
point.
experience.
But I might go
And-
watch it by
yeah.
myself tonight.
How dare you? That would be... I can't hold you back from morbing out
Don't
on
hold
by
me back,
yourself.
baby.
For me, I guess it's a bit more tame, and I don't have a camera set up for it. But I would give a quick shout out to The Bear, first season streaming over on Hulu, the show from Effects that's just got a second season announced. But that wraps it up for this week's show. Next week, we are not entirely sure yet what we'll cover. We might talk about Men. We might talk about something else. It's gonna be a surprise. But in the meantime, you can follow Lachlan and myself on our socials. Those are linked below. Same goes for everything from Quiet on Set. Linktree will take you to the audio and video feed for both this show and the Ewan Graph podcast, as well as all of our socials, like our Letterboxd HQ account, or even our TikTok account where you get bite-sized short-form content from us. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, and rate and follow the show if you are listening over on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Quiet on Set is powered by Cineman and hosted by myself, Ewan and Lachlan. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you Monday.
It's Morbin Time.